Hey, I'm Grant,
I'm Andrew.
This is Ellie.
and this is going to be the third test episode for Digression Bar. I got it right this time. So, let's kick it off. I have a small rant that I wanted to get to last podcast that I didn't. And this is like super personal, but you might be able to relate because you worked at a grocery store.
Okay.
When you go to a salad bar, like at Hy-Vee, right? They have like fruit, like watermelon, cantaloupe. Why do they always cut them so large? Because this is like a small pet peeve where it's too large, where you would like it's annoying to eat the whole thing at once, but also it's too small to justify literally cutting into more pieces.
Okay, my question is, give me a representation on how big.
Like this big, I can.
Well, if you're eating it with a fork, you just bite into it.
It's too much work. I went back and
That's
forth.
easy.
Too much work. I went back and forth with our manager in the kitchen about this. He's always like, "You need to cut them bigger slices, bigger chunks." I'm like, does anyone like this? I hate it.
Do you know?
They do it at my work too.
Do you know why I think that is though?
He said because it looks more valuable, like big chunks.
I would say that may or may not be the case, but I would say it's probably also that you get a lot more voids in the container.
More what?
Voids, as in
Oh, I
areas
see.
where you can't fill up, because if they're bigger, you're gonna have a lot more just empty space in there. Where
It's true.
if you have a lot of small pieces, it's
Condenses.
a lot more condensed. So that's probably what. Well, I mean, depending on what it is. Like if it did open the salad bar, well, it's not filling in. A thing.
It's a very personal problem. I don't know why. It bugs me so much. Like even at my work, I get like salad for lunch, and their like cherry tomatoes have been getting consistently bigger, and it's annoying.
Well, that's just a. Wait, what do you mean?
Like they started out like cherry, like I don't know, like half an inch,
Yeah.
really small, and now they're like plums.
I mean, that's just a supplier thing, I guess.
It's super minor. It's just something that has always bugged me, and I've never heard a good justification. That's probably the most thought out one, but I don't think our boss was on that level.
Oh.
He was mad because I was cutting the cheese cubes too small, and he wanted big. He's like, big cheese cubes. People like big cheese cubes.
Well,
You're not wrong.
Cheese cubes, I guess that's a different thing because than fruit. I don't know. It's just because I feel like with those is like, oh, I want to take this, and if I don't want all of it, I'll just cut a little piece off and save it. Whereas for the fruit, you're like, no, I'm just going to eat the fruit or throw it away.
How big it would be for you to cut off a little piece of cheese and save it?
I don't know, but I'm not the person they're doing that for.
What do you mean by save it? Like, do you
Or put
do you
it on like a slice of bread.
I don't know.
Or crackers or something.
I have this vision of you just randomly you're at like work on your break and you pull out like a cheese cube and you're like, that's too much, and you shave off a little bit and just put it in your pocket. Like, save that for later. That's what this vision you gave me.
Like Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh yeah, where he has like the tater tots.
That's
Yeah,
a great idea, though.
putting tater tots in your pocket.
Well, I mean, like, you didn't need a nice, bag, but tater tots are great.
They could have they need like Ziploc to partner with like Levi, so you can have like a Ziploc pocket that's good, okay for food.
Also licensed for Attack on Titan, so you had the Captain Levi's.
That would work. Yeah, I don't know why. It always bugged me. Or on the same thing, speaking of those cheese cubes, I never understood those salads that are just like random mixes of things and they put vinaigrette on it. And it's all like something like my grandmother would make. And because in that salad, it was just like rotini noodles, whatever vegetables and fruit we had of the day, and then cheese cubes. There's no like semblance. It's just like a bunch of stuff cut into cubes and put together.
In the kitchen?
Yes.
Most of the time, like, all the salads are ones that, we have, like, mixes for.
Right. That one's not bad. I'm talking more like, that was an example. I feel like when I see them outside the store, they're bad. Like when they're made by people. Like when I went to Germany, I had one. My host mother made a salad, and a quote unquote salad. It was just giant watermelon chunks, mozzarella cubes, and vinaigrette, and that was a salad. And it was so bad.
I don't understand why people like vinaigrette so much.
I don't know. It's something I've tried on my salad. It just doesn't do anything for me because I think it's lower calorie than like dressing, but still that way you're not eating salad dry.
I just hate salad in general.
Oh, I like salad. I have it for lunch every day. I don't know why I get salad all the time because
Shut up.
Thanks, Alexa. I don't know why I get salad all the time at lunch because it just pisses me off. Like they have these containers and they're like styrofoam, and I put my salad in that so I can take it up.
What? Styrofoam what?
Containers.
Oh, kind of like the ones in the kitchen?
Yeah, like the ones we have
Okay.
we have for the breakfast sandwiches. It's like literally that. And so like they're stackable, right? The inside has like a lid that goes up in the center. You know what I'm talking about? And I'll put peas in my salad, and I have to like fucking every time I have my fork, I don't know why I get the fucking peas because I go to scoop them and I get the fork like snags, and then it snaps forward and launches my peas all over my fucking desk. It happens every day. And yet I still get pea. I got peas today, and I lost 4 of them because of this.
Like lost, or they just flew in?
They landed on my keyboard. I've yet to hit a coworker, but I'm sure it's one day it's going to happen. Like, did you just hit me with a pea? It's like I don't mean to, but for some reason I always grab that. Like,
Well, what are you snagging on? Is my question.
like the little lip in the cardboard. When I use either my spoon or my fork, it just like snags on that, like very slightly, and then so the fork juts forward when it gets unstuck, and then flicks the peas.
I'm just wondering why you're eating salad like
I'm
enough
not-
that you're enough
I'm not.
to compress it to the point of when you let go, it flings.
It's not that much force. I don't know what it is. It's cursed. But I need to put something else in there because the Roma tomatoes are too big. Not Roma. Cherry, grape. One of those. They're too big. And I don't...
I think it's cherry.
There's both, I think. I think cherry is smaller. And then Roma's like this big. And grape's like in between.
Okay.
But I don't know. That might just be like a random classification. They might all be the same tomato, just sorted into sizes. I don't know. The point is they are too damn big.
The size of these tomatoes are too damn high.
I literally have this argument. Like I get this salad like every day, and I'm like, I don't like this part. I don't like this part. I don't like this part. But my only other choice is just be the crazy guy, just eating like raw lettuce. Like that's basically what my salad is I just have raw lettuce, romaine, or iceberg if they don't have that. And I hate iceberg lettuce. So why do I get the salad if I hate like literally every ingredient in it?
I think you need to see someone.
No, I get soup, and the soup's delicious, and then the salad I actually don't mind the salad.
Like you were just telling me, like, man, I love salads. I get it every day.
I do like salad.
I hate my salads. I get.
In general, I like salad, but for some reason, this one pisses me off, despite me getting it every day. And I fixed it at one point because I got annoyed with my peas. I just ate it with my hands over the course of like 30 minutes. People thought I was crazy.
Peas don't even belong in salad.
Well, I have limited choices, and I need to put something. I have iceberg lettuce or romaine, and then spinach. And I want to have something else. I'll put broccoli on it, but that's the other thing. The broccoli is too fucking big. Everywhere, broccoli is too big.
Broccoli definitely does not belong in salad.
What do you mean? Why?
Giant chunks. I don't want to have to cut up my broccoli to eat it. But if it's like, I don't even know, like if it's like this big, this is terrible for audio podcast. I don't know, like if it's more than like an inch and a half, that's too much broccoli for one bite.
You don't have to have the whole thing in one bite.
It's not big enough where I'm going to take multiple bites.
Multiple can be 2. You can just bite off a little bit and bite it again. It's it. That's
I don't think that works.
That's all there is.
I disagree.
It's like you've got other weird stuff like you and cereal, motherfucker.
I don't like cereal. It's not that. I don't like mushy food. So I eat my cereal dry. Always.
The way you described to me are pseudo solids is what you say is like why I don't like it.
It's hit or miss. Like bananas, like I'll eat a banana. It's okay. Pudding doesn't do anything. Jello, I don't like Jello. Jello will make me gag or throw up.
See, I don't know. Like that's one of the things. Like I'm not a fan of Jello, but mostly it's because like for as much like sugar and stuff that goes into it, I feel like you don't get very much taste for what it is. I feel like it just doesn't interact with your mouth very much. Like you basically have to get it and then suck on it if you want anything from Jello. Otherwise, just like just a little bit of something in your mouth and swallow it.
I just can't wait to like take all these sound bites. This entire podcast is just a ruse to get sound bites from you. So 1, going hard in Boy Scouts. 2, you gotta get really up on there and suck on it to get the flavor. But Ellie, did you like eat Jello when you were in elementary school and stuff? Because that was always what I thought is people get Jello when you're in like elementary. Yeah. And
I never did.
I never understood
really,
it.
Really gross. But then one time I got really sick, and my dad made it for me, and then I thought it was okay.
I guess I should clarify. Ellie's my sister, so your dad is also my dad.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Grant, do you remember when we were younger, we had a grandma who would make jello, but she put like floating vegetables inside. Like she'd make green jello that have floating broccoli in the middle.
That
God.
is that.
I did not remember this specifically. I know. I mentioned my grandma would make these dishes like that. We're just like,
that's the same round.
yes, I think so. Yeah.
I didn't know that your grandma was like a scourge to humanity who needed to be locked up. Like putting fucking broccoli in jello. What? Well,
I already hate it because my parents were like, "Oh, you just try. You're just being picky. You'll like it." I'm like, I don't like Jello. And then on top of that, you have freaking broccoli in the Jello, which I don't understand. It's like a time period thing, I think, because like our other grandma makes desserts kind of like that too, and I don't understand it because they're terrible. Like, who is like, I want this dessert? This like screw cake, screw pie. I want Jello.
I'm pretty sure why Jello? I don't know, but I'm pretty sure the thing like with the broccoli maybe is like, oh, what this really is supposed to be is just a broccoli delivery device. It's the Jello is there just maybe it might make the broccoli more appetizing or whatever, but it'd be like so the Jello is there as like the frosting, where what they're really trying to feed you is the broccoli.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe that's it. I don't mind. I like broccoli. Jamie and I actually made this awesome dessert. Not dessert. It was a meal. We made zoodles, which is zucchini noodles, where I should have saved some. You take a zucchini, and Jamie brought over this device called a spiraler, and it just cuts like really long, thin strands of zucchini in a giant spiral around it to make them into noodles. It was delicious. Vegetables are great.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll have to have her talk more when she's back. Yeah, it was really interesting. But yeah, I don't understand it. Like, it seems like it's so easy to make a cake. Why go out of your way to make this stupid dessert?
Probably, I think it's in general, it's also less work.
I guess that'd be true. Just like
because
instant Jello.
Well, I mean, most of the it's a powder and water and cold.
But you could make like pudding with that same amount of work, and pudding's better.
I don't know because I
True,
feel like you
yeah.
have to mix. I feel like you have to mix more with pudding. Like you do have to let it cool, but you have to like thoroughly mix it up. Where with Jello, it's just kind of like, oh, you mix it up, like you put all the stuff, it dissolves really quickly, and then you just let it sit. Whereas with I'm pretty sure you have to use a mixer whenever you make pudding. And
Makes
again,
sense.
like, and I'm sure there are just people like, I just like the texture of fucking Jello more than pudding. I don't know.
Yeah, or maybe it's just like a heritage thing. Like, oh, my mom made it, so I made it that way. Like, there's a story that was I had heard, and it was just some story about like how a mother was teaching her daughter how to make pot roast, and one of the steps is, okay, in our family's pot roast, you got to cut off an inch of the ends every time you cook it because the recipe calls for that. And she's like, well, why do we do that? It's like, I don't know, that's just the way my mom always did it. So they call like the grandma, and she's like, oh, I don't know, we just always did that because my mom always did that. And they call like the great grandma, and she's like, oh yeah, my pot was too small. And that was the reason they did it for generations, is just that she did it when she was like a mother, and they just copied it even though there was no reason to. So I wonder if it's not like that, where it's just, oh, my mom made this dessert, so I kept making this dessert.
I don't know. I guess like, isn't there another thing? Isn't pudding generally a dairy product? Like, isn't there?
I don't eat pudding either.
Well, I mean,
it's like on the cusp, so I would not.
Pudding is one of those things. Like, I will not go out of my way to get pudding for any reason. But sometimes, like, oh, there's food here. It's like, oh, just like, for instance, maybe like Old Country Buffet. God rest that franchise. Like, maybe it was like, oh, there's some pudding there. Like, oh, I'll just try this pudding just because it's here.
Yeah.
Not because I like just want pudding, but it's like, oh, here's. And then there are other things, and there are things like I forgot what this was called, but I think it was like it's not brownie pudding, but it's a thing where it's like bread pudding.
Yes.
Yeah, or it's like it's kind of a pudding, but it's not really.
Mm-hmm.
I actually like bread pudding. It's weird, but I like it. But pudding by itself, just I don't know. Again,
Well, that's why you save the cheese, so you can pull it out and you can have something with it. You're like, oh, thank God I saved this cheese in my pocket for a week. So yeah, there you go.
that is disgusting. Oh. Oh. So I went out of town this last weekend, right?
Right.
And we were cleaning up the van, or cleaning out a van that we were going to take. Or my family.
Are you like stealing this van?
No, it was just a van.
There's this van we were going to take, so we had to clean it.
Well, I meant clean, like get all the shit. And stuff
I know.
And somehow someone had a stick of string cheese, like those like individually wrapped string cheese things.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow it got in, like the door rail. And It was just there for God knows how long.
Was it still sealed though?
It was still sealed.
Okay.
But it was brown.
Oh, ouch.
Entirely brown. Like it looked like it was like encapsulated turd.
That's great.
And it was disgusting. Just conceptually, like seeing what color it was and what it used to be. Oh my God, I was not having it. It was no.
Gross. I know we haven't anything too bad, but I know there was one time when we were moving, we had moved like the old brown couch that we bought at the street place, and like Jamie and I like found a French fry that had been there for a month or two.
Was it moldy?
Nah.
Oh, like that's just kind
But
of.
yeah, I don't have any stories
It
like
was
that.
just hard, I bet, right?
I mean, I didn't try it, but
I mean, like I'm sure you picked it out. Like we just.
it's still there to this day.
Where's the couch though?
I'm kidding. It was just behind the couch. I guess it like fell behind there. So I'm trying not to have food get stuck in this one. Because this is a nice couch. I bought it like 2 weeks or something before we did the podcast, and it's lived up to everything. Needs an ottoman to actually finally come in though. It's like the first time I went like actual furniture shopping ever with Jamie. We went down to Nebraska Furniture Mart, and that was a neat experience. Everything's so expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes me feel like an adult, like shopping for furniture. So, and now I have all the stuff I would like to buy. Like every time I go there, I have like this stuff. Like this is what I need now. I need this couch, but I also kind of look at this, and then also the stuff that was like way on the fancy end. Like I want to make like an actual theater gaming area where it'd be cool to like have people over more so than just this. And they have like really awesome like movie theater style seats. I'm like, oh, I'm never gonna buy these in the next like 10 years because like they're $3,000 a piece or something. But that'd be awesome.
What I'm hearing from you is when you get your ottoman here, you need to get a flag and maybe, I don't know, put some nice stuff up around this enclosure and should dub it the Ottoman Empire.
The Ottoman Empire. It would fall though.
Well, from within.
Of all my subjects in school, history, geography, I'm terrible with, so I can't tell you anything.
I'm bad with geography for sure. History, I'm hit or miss.
I don't think I can name all 50 states at this point. Can you?
I think I can name at least 45, I'm sure, if I was trying.
Ellie, can you name all 50 states?
Yeah, I think if I was counting, if I knew like when I was close to being done, sure.
Do you have to do the song? I'd have to do the song.
There's a song
There's a song. That's the only reason I know any of them.
besides Nebraska or
Well, I know some, and I also know all the A ones because it's in alphabetical order, and I only remember part of the song, but I remember the first half. So like once you get up like Virginia, I know that, but there's certain other ones where I don't know if it's a city or a state, and I don't want to ask.
I will see that there are certain things where I just get them swapped. Like sometimes I think like, oh, Chicago's the state and Illinois is the city. I'm like, no, that's other way around.
Anything on the East Coast I can't do, like or like down in like the Southeast.
What about New York
I can do that one.
or Washington, D.C.
Yes,
or Washington?
I thought when you said Washington, it's like
that's
what do you
actually
mean?
West,
Yes.
That's West Coast.
Yeah.
Actually.
But I'm terrible with that. Like, actually, one of the things I thought to do for like a fun activity to do on the podcast was just do like find a bunch of like elementary tests and actually have us take them and see how we do. And originally, the idea was to do like an algebra test, but then I realized like all of you are still in school and I'm not, so I'm pretty sure I would get destroyed.
With algebra?
Or like any math test, because you'd have to time it as well. I feel like to make it fun. If I don't want to legitimately have like a 4-hour test, like that's not fun. But if it's like, okay, You have 1 minute multiplication tables. Go. I think I would choke really hard on that, but it would be really fun. It was one of the ideas I originally had for that diversion show. It was just like, okay, minute, go, and just have no explanation.
That's one thing. I'm not fast at doing multiplication just in my head. Like, I always have to, like, write it out. Like, okay, so I can, like, keep track of where everything is.
See, my thing is, like, I know the answer, but I second guess it. So I'm always like, 7 times 7, 49. Wait, is it? And that's what always slows me down.
Okay. In my math experience, there are always times where it's like, there's an equation, or especially in some, like, engineering tests I've been taking, it's like, okay, here's the thing. I go off and do this thing, and I don't know, I have test anxiety or something. So I'll, like, really part, and I'll start doing this thing, like, and then I notice, like, one key word in, like, the problem is like, do it for this. I'm like, motherfucker, what I just did is null and void. Doesn't matter. And I'm like, motherfucker, god damn it.
I know what sucked is in college tests was a big point was just the timing. Like, I know there were some tests where not necessarily even that hard, but you had very limited time. And that was like a big component I wasn't used to, where you can know everything, but unless you can do it all fast and do it, like I said, kind of like the first time around, do it correctly. Because otherwise you have to, like, back up and start all over. You lose so much time, and it sucks.
I very rarely completely finish a test.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least engineering ones. Like, what is Gen Ed's, like, economics or something like that. It's like, well, I mean, that's nothing. There's very little math you have to do there.
Yeah, but anything like physics or, like, for me, circuits was huge because there's just all these tiny little equations. And even with, like, a calculator, just you have to, like, double check them over and over, because if you miss one step, it's going to screw everything off.
Question. So when you took classes like your circuits classes, you got a ton of equations, right?
Yes, usually.
Did you have to memorize the equations beforehand, or were you able to, did they give you a sheet like, okay, here are the equations, they don't tell you why they're there, it's just, you just need to know how to use them?
They did a couple things. Most physics tests, they would give you an actual sheet with equations on it. Mm-hmm. Most of my engineering tests, they would say, okay, you get a note card. Put whatever you want on the note card. And then that's it. So it just depends.
See, I've had classes where it's, you get a sheet with equations, or you get a piece of paper and you can write whatever you want on the piece of paper, but it's only one-sided. And then for my most recent steel design class, it's like, no, you do not get an equation sheet, you don't get a piece of paper, you don't get anything. You just get to bring the steel manual that's this thick to the test. Like, okay, so being able to navigate that thing really quickly, really fucking important.
I thought for a second you're going to say, like, they just gave you, like, a steel card and you had to engrave whatever you wanted. Like, that'd be really fitting.
That'd be expensive as hell.
Yeah.
And
you'd have to really justify what you put on that thing. But I remember there's, like, some classes where it would just vary a lot from teacher to teacher. Like, I had, for my Circuits 1 course, most people coming in, they take it the first semester of their freshman year. I took it second semester. I guess first semester it was taught Tuesday, Thursday, hour and a half at like 7:30 in the morning. Except for the tests, those were in a separate hall, and they were at 5 o'clock at night, and you couldn't bring anything besides a pencil. And they would supply like these really cheap, like, elementary school calculators. So, like, no scientific functions, just raw, add, subtract, divide, that. Other guy, the one I took, it is just on a Friday, you have a test, it is open laptop. Anything, you have internet, anything you want to put on it, you just show up on your own test thing, take the test. Even's like, hey, here's an equation that does the entire thing for you. You still have to do the math to prove you know it, but you can see that everything's adding up like it's supposed to. And yeah, I did way better in that class than people did in the other course because it was so radically different. And I remember, like, telling them that, like, oh yeah, mine was at like 2:30 Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and it was like across the hall from my house. And then everyone else, yeah, basically had a terrible time with that professor.
Damn.
Yeah.
I guess there are certain things where it's like, yeah, this is ridiculously, easy. But then I've also had kind of the same problem where it's like, oh, this is easy, but it's hard, and I'll explain why. So, there's a instructor. His name's Foster. He's been a civil engineer for a while, but he's getting up there. He had gotten up there in age, and the last semester he was teaching, I took a class with him, and it was not thermodynamics. It was engineering dynamics, and that was such a fucking bullshit experience. Let me tell you what. We had to use this McGraw-Hill program, where we, like, first off, okay, so we had to get a book, right? Because you usually get textbooks. But the only carried, like, the 9th edition for the textbook. And then it's like, oh, yeah, sorry. No, we're not using the 9th edition textbook. We're only using the 10th edition textbook. But we also aren't bringing in the 10th edition textbooks. You are going to need to do it online. So we were forced to use it in a digital copy. And then all of our homework assignments were through this thing, and all the quizzes.
Yeah.
And there were times where there were wrong answers, let me tell you, in some of the things. Also, he taught exclusively through power or slides through the program, and like there are times like he talked about how, like, oh yeah, certain parts of this are wrong, but I learned very little from that class of the actual material, but I was able to do the homework online. You could take it as many times as you wanted, and he graded on a curve. Thank fucking God.
Nice.
Because and then it was a train wreck, and he was always late. We were in a classroom that was like a really small classroom with really shitty desks or chairs and everything. And then he gave out this extra credit, like, little sheet that said, like, if you can complete this, I'll give you so many points on, like, your final or whatever. No one got it right. And there were, like, 35 people.
Damn.
And so it was like, yeah, it was not, like, first off, in civil engineering, I mean, really, I don't think moving items are that big of a deal for me. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's like, I wanted to learn something. I learned very little. It was bullshit. It was a waste. Like, I was, up until that point in my career, time in college, like, if there's a class, you go to that fucking class. Like, don't be late. Don't do all this shit. But that class, I'm like, you know what? I'm just not going to go to class maybe for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Because this is fucking bullshit. I'm not learning anything. Because, like, he'd do, like, the PowerPoints on screen, and he wouldn't do anything on the board. So if you're, like, trying to take notes, it's fucking bullshit. Because, like, Lee's like, oh, okay, we're gone there again. And then, because he was using the PowerPoint slides that had numerous errors, be like, I don't know what's real. Because if he passes it, then you have to do it online. But, like, what is real and what's not? I don't know. And this is me ranting. I'm sorry.
Damn. All my professors were pretty good. Ellie, have you ever had any bad professors?
No, I haven't had anybody that's, like, super terrible. I've had a lot of, like, really, really pretentious ones that love to just talk about how wonderful they are, but that's about it.
I'd say that, yeah, my professor experience was generally good. I think I liked all of them, but yeah, I knew I'd heard horror stories from some other people of just professors who just, like, really don't like their job.
And, like, maybe, like, mine, it was him going out the door. Essentially.
Yeah.
And like motherfucker, like, he was late, like, all these things. It's just, and then, like, there'd be times where, like, he's 15-20 minutes late and he'd be mad if you tried to leave before that.
Damn.
Or like as he's, like, hobbling down the stairs because he's old and crippled. And I mean, he's not crippled, he's crippled.
It doesn't help for the audio podcast if you do air quotes.
Air quotations.
I am trying to get better about that. I haven't yet done, like, an audio only version and listen to that, but I need to get better at actually, like, describing stuff, because it's really easy to emote, because we do make the video version of this and you can see what we're doing. But I know they're way down the line, I'm going to regret not doing that. So Ellie, since I guess you can see us, but you're going to be our gauger. I don't know what to say of that. If we're doing a good description.
Judge or gauge?
I don't know. What would you call that? Decider? Judge us? Judge.
No,
that's the word I'm looking for.
Well, judge. I got test.
So, Andrew, did you bring any topics to discuss on the podcast?
Nothing. And then, like, there's a story I want to talk about, but I need William, my brother, to be the one that tells it.
I see.
Because it's a way he talks for part of it. So ideally, I don't know, maybe having him on if we can't get a third next time.
I can give it a shot. One thing I'm trying to develop is like regulars so we can get a good feel. But based off the fact that we try to play D&D every Tuesday, and I think we're on a third or fourth week of not playing, I'm not good with regular stuff. But that's the reason I wanted to test this stuff.
But again, I feel like it's not on you though that we haven't doing, because we've been doing stuff on Tuesdays. It's
True.
always like someone's like Jamie or Cole or someone's not showing up.
Yeah, it happens. I feel bad though because like I have a job and like a steady schedule. Everyone else is like, oh well, now my school's starting, or I have to pick up a second job, or I have to take someone to the airport. But I do have more topics prepared. First one is Xbox starting officially, I think, in June. They have a big update coming out, one of which they have the Xbox Live Pass. Did you see that? They have the free trial out now for that.
I know it's a thing. I haven't done anything with it. I haven't looked into it at all.
Well, I talked to Ellie. It's like a Netflix for games and stuff. You just pay extra.
Yeah.
But
and it's like a big library game. It's not like occasionally they mix stuff out.
But the other thing you can do, and I'm excited for this, is you can finally make custom gamer picks. So you can upload your own stuff and you can put it as your gamer pick, which I've been going around that so many times trying to find a good one. I've changed it like 5 times this week.
The coffee one.
Yeah, I'm a coffee one right now. But that's when I figured out they have custom ones. I think I can actually do it now. There's a beta app you can get and then you can change it. But on that note, you need to change your gamer pick because it's been freaking the avatar that's dressed as Bleach for like 4 years.
On Xbox?
On Xbox and Facebook.
On Xbox, it's not that.
Is it not? Did you change it? Wait, no, you changed it to...
It's been a thing for...
Damn.
It's not been that for like a year or more. Maybe 2
Wait,
years.
has it? I guess I always see you on Facebook Messenger. That's what I'm thinking of. That's it.
I have thought about that. I'm like, I do need to change that because it's been that for God knows how long now. I just like I don't do Facebook outside the Messenger app. It's just not a thing I do.
I'm all about that.
I don't know.
Facebook, Twitter, YouTube's. I'm gonna put my my YouTube logo as my gamer pick now, and I'm excited for that.
Oh, that's cool.
Because I always hate all the gamer picks. Like I was going through them, and it's just terrible. Like there's not a single good one in there.
I feel like there were a lot of interesting ones where they're like obviously supposed to be this. Like there were ones that like obviously supposed to be Mass Effect.
Speaking of which, I had an amazing gamer pick. Ellie knows the story. I had this awesome N7 one for beating Mass Effect on Insane, and you took it from me.
I didn't take it.
You took it. It doesn't work if we both have the same gamer pick and we're always playing together. You stole my gamer pick. It's a good gamer pick.
It was a good gamer pick.
You had to beat like Mass Effect 1 on Insane, right? Yeah. And then it was like this really nice, clean black N7 logo. And every other gamer pick at the time was either you had to pay money for, or it was like the really dumb ones that came with it. And then sometimes you had a game that had free ones like Halo that came with the game. Or I think I have some Gears ones.
Or then you have ones that were just kind of like Final Fantasy 13.
Oh, yeah.
They had achievements tied to, or gamer picks tied to certain achievements.
Oh, yeah, that was right. But then I would never put Final Fantasy because that looks a little bit too weeb, honestly. I like to tell a story. So I like Final Fantasy 13 in that trilogy.
I do too.
Ellie, what was it? So Final Fantasy 13, the box has like lightning on the cover, right? This like girl with like pink hair. Ellie, what was your description of when I brought that home?
You had just traded in Assassin's Creed 2, which I had bought you for Christmas, and I was literally like, "What is
not that year?
Hair?
Previous Christmas.
Okay.
It's not like this isn't like January. I'm trading it in.
Yeah, I was just like, "What is this?"
That's the only game I ever traded in. By the way, it was a terrible deal.
I was really upset at you at the time. I thought you were so dumb. But then I played through the game, and I was like, "This is the best game ever."
What? Oh,
no. But you didn't describe what you thought like of the cover of the game though. Like,
because she had never heard of Final Fantasy or never like seen it before, and I came home like I bought Final Fantasy 13. I was excited because I played like 7, 8, 9 up until then, and I was like, "Hey, here's the one that's coming out for my console. It's gonna be a trilogy." And yeah,
and then comes in Ellie and says,
I don't know. I don't know. I was just like upset. I don't remember what I said exactly.
I just remember you saying like you looked at it and you're like, he's gone insane. Like what? Like what did you buy?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just like every other game up till that point, it's like it all makes sense, and then there's this one that like, why did you go out and just buy this random anime game? Like it's not. That's what it looks like before you play the game, and you play it and it's fun. It's great, but
Well, we thought it's good. Like I feel like the popular opinion is that it wasn't good.
I like the trilogy. I like the world. It's that the first one, has major issues. Like I tried to go back and replaying it. Or I even watched a guy who does like speed runs of it, and I think even then the world record's like 7 hours with every freaking trick you could pull. And it's brutal. And all the achievements in that are just super grindy too, and stupid. But
I mean, it was. I mean, it felt it was an okay game. Like there were definitely things that'd be improvement, but then I felt like there were just narrative elements that were just really interesting throughout the arc. And it's so weird though, because like it starts in one place and ends in really weird. Like why are these connected as the game? It's a thing, and like they have like elements that the people will like mention something in 13, and like again they'll mention it in 13 too, but you just, it doesn't register to you because it makes like there's no frame of reference, and 1330 is like, and then it's back and it's a big deal and it's fuck you.
Yeah, I know one thing that always struck me about for Final Fantasy is if you sit down and describe any Final Fantasy story, it sounds like the dumbest thing ever. Yeah. But when you play it for 60 hours, it's so narrative heavy and it happens so slowly, you don't realize it's going crazy. Like, it's not bad. It makes total sense of those 60 hours, really. It's just that you don't realize it's happening. It feels like a whole journey. Or like, for example, one of my best go-tos is how in all 3 games in that trilogy, they all take place like 500 years apart, but with all the same characters. And they're just human, more or less, depending on different points. But just that alone's like, that doesn't make any sense. But when you play, it's like, well, yeah, but, there's time travel in 2, and then, then the god dies and then time stops. So but it's like, it makes sense eventually when you play the game. But just sitting down saying that, like, I think, did you play Final Fantasy VIII? That's my go-to.
I played a lot of it. I am like probably 3/4 of the way, and I stopped, and I don't know why. And it's like I have it on my laptop. I should play it. I was really into it, and all of a sudden something happened, and I don't know. Like, it wasn't because of the game. It was just something about me.
I don't want to spoil it, so I won't. But that's always my go-to when you describe Final Fantasy VIII story. There's no way it doesn't sound like a fanfic, because it's all over the place. Like, but yeah, that's just something that always struck me about Final Fantasy. But on an original note, with Gamer Picks, I was so happy when the avatars came out, because you could take a picture with your avatar, which wasn't much better, but you could make it your own thing.
Right.
And I thought, like, oh, this is so much better than this dumb photo. And then, like, on Steam, you can make whatever pick you want, so I'd always do fun picks there. And I hated that you couldn't do custom ones. And finally, you can. But I mainly just want to call you out on your Bleach avatar. Because it'd be one thing if it was like a character from Bleach, but it's like your avatar dressed as Bleach, but with that dumb avatar face doing the fist pump, and it's just
Is it really?
He's like, yeah. I don't have my phone. I would show it off. The thing is, like, I don't have any issue with it if you change it, but it's like it's been so long for like just that. I mean, it achieves its role. I definitely know it's you when I see it. But I just wonder, like. Like, if someone looked you up for a job interview and they like checked out your Facebook profile, it's like either it's great, like they don't know it's you, so they don't like dig any further, or it's like, well, first impression. It's just something that's always bugged me. Like, that's something I feel like I'm aware. Like, I finally changed today my Twitter pic. That's been the same thing for like 5 years. So now, and I look different, but it's something I look at a lot. Is like having a nice profile pic and having it be like me. And well framed. And I need to do a good one for the channel sometime, but so finally having that and having an actual image that's custom that's really important to me.
The only thing about this custom, profile thing, how fast are they going to be able to stop the dick pics?
I think you can just report it, and hopefully it should be good. I know with gamer tags, if you get like I think 2 or 3 auto reports, or just 2 or 3 reports, it'll automatically tell you can change your name for free. So I'm thinking it's something like that where, since it's just kind of like a do whatever system, they'll just say if you get enough reports, it forces you to change it.
Right, but you could argue that like certain profanities or inappropriate, gamer tags, which is written word, like certain like children, like wouldn't it be too bad like the mother's like I don't want this on here because fuck, Jimmy might figure out what this is and be another thing, but it's like, oh look, it's a flaccid penis on screen. It's like I can't not explain that now. Like that's a thing that he sees it. That's the damage is done.
Is it worse or better because it's flaccid?
Well, I guess
you're legitimately thinking about this. You're like,
well, I mean, one thing like, is it an erect penis or is it a flaccid penis? Everyone talks about like penises, and I feel like I don't know.
Does everyone talk about that all the time in your life?
No, but it's usually like it's Rooster Teeth stuff. Like a lot of times they'll talk about penis like, like there were one time they're talking about a Skyrim mod where like there were big
continue.
Like the mod where all the guys were naked and they had like giant penises that would just flop around. Like, yeah, that's funny, but it's like, well, what if the mod was like they had the giant penises, but it was erect? Like that would be intimidating as hell. It's like you're just fighting him like with like, this big erect penis, and like, oh my god,
God.
And like, okay, that's where I feel like it matters.
But what I'm hoping to see is one thing I always loved about on Steam, particularly in Dota, you will know based off when you go into lobbies. That will also be how you load up in the game. And when you load a Dota game, there's a little roster that says these are the people in the game. So it's just a picture, like 5 names on one team with their avatars. And then below it would be the next 5 people on the other team with their avatars all top to bottom. So people would make composite images so that when they go in, they know it lines up to a bigger image. And you can change your name on Steam. So they'd always change like their icons to be part like this image of Gabe Newell split up, for example, and it'd be like his sexy hair, his wondrous eyes, and those would be like their Steam names. And when they all go together, it makes that picture. And I want to see stuff like that because like if you're rolling in on like trials or like gears and you roll up and you find that, you know you're gonna lose. Like they already have more coordination than your team does if they can do that.
I remember. I don't think you were in the game. I think I was playing with my cousin Scott one time. It was back Halo Reach days. It's like when I first got a 360, motherfucker. There was a time we were in a game of War Invasion. That's what Invasion. And there was a level 45 Ponyta, a level 45 Gyarados, and a level 45.
I remember this, yeah.
Like I forgot what the third one was, but I'm like, motherfucker, we're fucked. Like we're dead.
What were we talking about before that? Sorry, I just wanted to get that.
Gamer picks.
Besides, what else?
I don't know. What about you? What about your gamer picks?
Yeah, Ellie, what?
Mine is still my avatar wearing the Halo Reach beta sweatshirt that you got. I haven't changed it in, I don't know, probably like...
I actually like that avatar system and the dress up. I wish more games would like let you unlock things.
Yeah, I like that too. But there was another thing. You used to have that as your avatar and maybe as your gamer pick for a while. What bothered me was like you had like a mustache or a beard or a goatee. You had a goatee.
I had
a goatee on your avatar.
I didn't notice that, and then I never went back and changed it.
And it was like, why the hell do you have a goatee? It's like it doesn't look like you, and it bothered me for a long ass time. Like you don't do facial hair.
I don't. I shaved this morning. I don't think I would ever do a beard. That might change, but that would bug me too much. I like being clean shaven. So. Yeah, but I remember when I made the character, I didn't notice it, and I don't actually look at it that much. So I think you pointed out, it's like, I'll get to it eventually. I think my character still has that, or maybe I changed it. At one point, like to try and make a good custom gamer pick, I went in and tried to figure out some good stuff, but really, everything in that shop is way too exaggerated or expensive. Like, I really wish you could unlock stuff like through games or through some other kind of system, because I wouldn't mind like taking the time to have something that actually like decently looks like me or represents me. But everything that's like decent is just like, a prop mask or some really outrageous t-shirt. It's nothing that's actually serious. So that's unfortunate because I like that system, and now they kind of really downplayed that, even though it's kind of still a thing. So
like it exists, but when you're just on Xbox, where do you go to see people's avatars? You don't. Yeah, you have to like go to their profile, and then like what is their avatar? And then like click on their. I think that's a function you can look at.
Yeah, you can look at their avatar.
But that's the thing. Like it's so out to the things. Like it's not an avatar. Then it's a fantasize something or other.
Well, the thing is, like, they used to. I think they just got rid of the initiative to do that. Like, it used to be that you could use them for games. Like, some people would like actually use your avatar for games.
I actually liked that system, that part of Xbox 360, because it used to be when you like go to your friends, like look at the thing, and there'd be like the background, like it'd be a bunch of essentially like little frames, like of the game, like something of the game was there, and it would be their avatar there. And if they were online playing the game, they'd be like looking around, like you'd see their avatar, and you'd see all their little props or whatever. And if they weren't offline, it would show whatever game they had been playing, and they would be like just.
I do like that system. Like, I wish it'd be easier
cool.
if I actually had friends online. I don't. I have you, and I have Ellie, and then I think I have William and stuff, but I don't ever play anything with him. Whereas it used to be like a thing where like I log on like, it's after school, everyone's playing Halo 3. Now it's like, it's just me. But I think that's also my own doing. Like now I would play so many single player games, but so other than like Destiny or individually like Gears or Andromeda, it feels like I don't have like a big multiplayer game. Or everyone's like all diversified now. And I don't know if we talked about that in the first podcast, but that was something that I kind of miss.
Yeah, I think we did. And I agree. It's kind of another thing where I feel like I'm not like if I don't know someone, especially it's like if I go on and like talk, like I hardly ever have my headset on when I'm just playing a multiplayer game. So it's like if someone starts talking, it's like, why are you talking? Stop that. I don't know you. Or like they're really annoying, or it's just I'm never going to like incentivize to like go out and try to talk to people online. So that I'll play with them and that's it. Then I just don't get good friends then. Mm-hmm. And then because I got a few mutual friends through William, because William is definitely the person like, yeah, I'll be your friend, motherfucker, get in this game and motherfucking do this shit. But then also you, Alex, Waleed, Chris sometimes. But again, like you were all people I physically interacted with. Are like, oh, hey, I know this person. I'll play with them. And now it's like, well, I have you. I'm a brother, but I see him. Like when he's doing it, it's not like, oh, look, William's online. It's like, oh, William's online. I can see you. Hi.
Yeah, he's like literally right over there. But yeah, I miss it. I don't know. I think it'll come back because like right now everyone's always busy with like school and stuff. Yeah. So I won't do it too hard, but. Change your gamer pick. Goddamn.
Not my gamer pick. My gamer pick is fine. It's my Facebook.
What are you going to change your gamer pick to, not your custom?
Don't know.
You can change it back to your avatar Bleach pick.
Would you be mad?
Well, I can make you a little, like a meme of just your face in a big circle going around, going hard in Boy Scouts. Going hard inside Boy Scouts. I
said going hard in Boy Scouts.
I'll have to check the footage.
I'm pretty sure.
But I'm excited because, I might change mine fairly frequently because it just seems like a lot of fun. We're about to see way more memes on Xbox Live.
But you brought up Destiny a little bit ago. Have you seen any of the stuff for Destiny 2?
I watched the launch trailer, but I know they put out some other stuff. I haven't really looked into it at all.
It looks like they have a narrative.
Yeah. I don't know if I keep remembering. I don't remember, but there's an article I meant to send you about what they talk about, kind of like what happened, where basically they had to make what they called the supercut of the game, and I think literally the supercut of the entire Destiny story. And essentially, upper management was like, "No, we think it's a little bit too convoluted for the average person. Remake it." And then that's what caused them to have to go and reuse so many different things. And they talked about what the story originally was meant to be. And stuff. It's kind of neat.
I am still frustrated.
Salty.
I'm salty.
I love that term, salty. Yeah. I don't know. It's something I feel like I don't mean to use in my everyday life, but I wish more people understood it because it's such a good term. Like, oh, I'm salty about this. And my coworkers are like, what does that mean? What? You're salty? It's like, I'm annoyed, frustrated. But I love that as a term.
Yeah, and then you got the
memes.
Yeah, okay.
There was a great post. One of the subreddits I follow is old people Facebook on Reddit.
Oh no!
And all it is just old people on Facebook. And there was a great one today that was just like, hey, Jenny, are you on the Facebook? And then, or Jenny's like, yeah, I am, Barb. What's up? He's like, how do I turn off memes? And that was just their dialogue. And it was great. Loved it. Because you knew it, like, this totally happened. Like, actually, it's like, it was so pure and innocent. That entire Facebook's amazing. Just because, like, watching these people interact. Or
when they were talking on Facebook.
Yes.
So in order you have that Facebook thing, it's like if you're messaging them, they have a Facebook. Like that. I think that's the thing. Like you can't just talk to someone who doesn't have Facebook because otherwise you're just posting on your own wall.
It's great. Like the thing they do by far the most, at least what I see gets posted, is I think they view it like writing a letter. So they put all their information in like one post. So it'll be
have like.
No, not like it'll be long. It'll just be like really short and concise, but it'll have a lot of info. So it goes 0 to 160 fast. Like, oh, hey, here's a selfie of me. And then someone's grandma will write like, oh, hey, nice selfie. Love you. Haven't seen you in a while. Also, Barb died last week. Rest in peace. And they just feel like, I guess they want to like tell them that, but it comes up all the time. Like, and there's one in particular that they always quote. It's like, love you. Also, Steve is with the Lord now. And that's just how they sign off. And it's like, gosh. Or Jamie should tell a story, but we had a coworker. Did you know Lisa?
Is she fired or?
No, she moved to a different store.
Oh.
If you're thinking of the right person. But I guess they had a joke that Jamie was like the mother because she like Lisa was hired and Jamie taught her how to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
So we posted pictures from Mark and Hannah's wedding and Lisa commented on them like, oh, you look great. And since she moved to the store, she made a joke like, oh, I miss my mother. But like out of context, it just looked like her making this I miss my mother quote on Jamie's profile. And it was really like, I understand the joke. Jamie understands the joke. There's someone out here really wondering what the hell she's talking about.
Like, oh, I'm sorry for your loss or whatever, but why are you posting on this?
I'm going to send you some old Facebook people memes after this. Because they're great. I don't know why they're so funny, but they are.
Turn off the memes.
How do you turn off the memes? So Ellie, what's up in Florida?
Nothing. It's hot and rainy and stormy. That's pretty much it.
So Florida.
Yeah. It's actually really great here. The only reason I care about the weather now is because my car's still broken. I have to walk to work. But
oh, you've been walking all the way to work?
Yeah. It's like straight down this trail here, though, so it's not that bad.
I know, but you're basically, it's like you're LARPing Japanese culture right now. You're appropriating shit.
True. It would be more official if I also ran out of my house with toast in my mouth.
This is like a corner of it, though. It's not just like,
yeah.
I don't know.
That's Jamie's like favorite like
trope.
Trope is if you're in a hurry, it's because you have toast in your mouth and you're walking out the door. I don't know why that's a thing, but it is.
I feel like you're not in a hurry because of that. It's just that's like the sign that show like you are in a hurry is that's like, oh, it's like, oh yeah, you're just moving quick. It's like, oh shit, got food in your mouth and blah 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 blah. It's like, oh, he must be in a hurry.
How much of a hurry could you be? Because you had time to toast the toast. I think it's
I'm gonna show a little bit more of my thing. Usually it's someone else made the food.
I assume it's usually supposed to be like parents.
Yeah, and they just take it and run out the door.
I should make a photo of that. Send it to Jamie. He'll laugh at that.
Of you doing it?
Yes. Because I don't know why. It's like a joke. There's a Tumblr blog she sent me that all it is a guy who just collects from several different shows that very specific scene of them running out with toast in their mouth. And that's all he posts. And for some reason, it's really funny to see them all together.
Like, how many are there? Like, there's got to be like hundreds.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It comes up all the time. It comes up multiple times in single shows. How do you get started on something like that? Like, I knew someone who ran like a novelty Twitter, and even then, he said it was like after a while, you just kind of like get off of it. So I wonder how, because like, who are the people that are that dedicated to run like a blog like that for years? Because I feel like how do you get started? How do you maintain that drive for such a niche hobby? There's no, who would he ever talk about in his life about this hobby? It's like, oh, I post stills from anime of people running out with toast in their mouths. That's his hobby. How do you get started on that?
I feel like that's a personality trait where it's like, oh, I just want to do this, and I have to like it just becomes like a habit that you just have to do. It's like, oh, I need to search for this. Okay, I didn't find one today, but oh, I found 5 tomorrow, or I will find 5 tomorrow, and then it's like putting on the thing. It's like, I don't know. It'd be like, it's kind of like that, the unfinished piece SCP, man. It's like that, except instead of your blood and you're dying, it's just you're dying slowly of life, and it's anime pics.
It's so easy to get lost in that side. I'm trying to avoid it. I was looking up stuff when you came over because I was watching someone play it. And
SCP, look it up.
Ellie, have you ever seen SCP? We must have talked about before.
I don't think so.
Oh, you were gonna get nothing done once I send you that link.
Yeah, prepare to hide in your basement for about a week just reading those.
I don't think most of them are that scary though.
I meant like just secluded, like not a.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I see what you're getting at.
Now, some of them are creepy. Like there aren't. I don't think there are any that are like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. It's just like that's just fucked up shit right there. That's just fucked. It's because like there aren't a ton of images. Most of the images are. I mean, go on the disturbing side sometimes, but it's not like horror.
I enjoy horror, and usually I don't like horror movies, or I guess I really don't watch them. At least I haven't seen any good ones. So maybe I should refrain from judging until I watch.
You haven't seen Cabin in the Woods?
No. I haven't seen Blair Witch Project, Paranormal Activity, Nightmare on Elm Street. Never seen them.
A lot of those I can't really say Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm sure that was like a really good horror movie first time. I don't know how well it holds up. It's just because it's a movie I haven't seen. But the Blair Witch, like certain one of those are like they're stupid, but like there are like borderline horror movies where I feel like they're just good because they're also just good narratives or just like interesting to watch. Like there's like Cabin in the Woods. First off, that's a comedy horror. Like it's not shown to be like it's not advertised as it's just really funny throughout, but it's not like scary movies.
Right.
Like there are funny aspects, but it's still supposed to be suspenseful. But then there's like The Boy or something that came out I think last summer, or I think 2016 sometime I believe. That was a really interesting, like because like there were different like spooky moments, and my brother who is has animatronophobia liked that movie. Just because like there's certain thing and at the very like end like there's a big like twist, and it's like oh my god, it's great. Especially like the ones that like seem like supernatural things are happening and then they're not.
Makes sense. It's something I want to get started, but I kind of bring it up because one, I like reading horror. Generally, like depends on individual case. Like I enjoy Stephen King, but he's not always horror. But I would always do this thing where sometimes I'd read like one horror story, and then it's like, well, I'm not sleeping tonight, so might as well keep reading more. And I would just read tons of short stories, and that's how I got started like on SCP. It's so easy to be like, well, I'm staying up till 4 a.m., so SCP number 1, and just go down the list.
That's one thing. I don't. That's one of the things I don't understand the genre of. Like horror movies or horror games or all that stuff. Like they're interactive. They're like there's imagery, there's sound, there's stuff like that. I don't understand horror as in novel form. Like there's some things like they're creepy to think about, but it's never like, oh my god, this is terrifying, and you close the book.
Yeah, I'm not like that.
Or just like, and then you have like those Korean or Vietnamese.
Those Korean, I think, those Korean comics. Those
so
are
like,
great.
You said something one like that was creepy, but there is imagery and gifs essentially.
Yeah.
That are disturbing, and yeah, we need to get my brother to do that. We need to get
those are really good, but I guess I always describe them as they're just interesting, kind of like the SCP ones. Like I remember, God, all the ones I liked were just because like they're almost like had an interesting idea behind them, like SCP does. Or I know it was kind of like you wanted to see what happened. They're suspenseful is a little bit more so than scary. Like a lot of Stephen King was like that, either just interesting or I want to see how this happens. Like if you read Carrie, that's like a horror movie, I believe. I've never seen it, but in a book, you're just kind of like, you get invested in the characters. I want to see where this ends up. So, or like just cool ideas. Like I know there's a good Stephen King book called Tommy Knockers. That's just about this author in Maine, because Stephen King's always in Maine, and she just uncovers something like on her farm, and it's a giant UFO, and she starts uncovering it. People in town start going crazy, and it's just an interesting idea. You're like, I want to keep reading.
Like they start going crazy.
Yeah, because spoilers for the book, the basically the aliens, the way they convert other beings to them, like physically into the aliens, like they mutate them.
Like the kid.
Yes, kind of. Yeah, but it's very subtle. It's just like psychic. So it happens to you, like you feel inclined to start researching more and more stuff, and then eventually you have the idea to build the machine that starts doing the more physical stuff. So everyone in town starts being crazy and
like
turning into these aliens. No, because they kind of form like a cult and stuff.
Okay.
Except for like there was one guy, I believe, who didn't, because he essentially had a giant like metal plate that blocked it.
Foil.
Yeah, basically. But it was really interesting read, just because you're like, after a while, you're like, well, I wonder what the thing is, and then stuff starts happening, and you're like, I want to keep reading.
So the woman that was uncovering it go crazy too?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she gets to the point where she's like fully excavating it, because this thing's like huge. So she has like a bulldozer, and she's just like going crazy. Whereas before, it was just like, huh, that's weird. And she was just doing it to like, she was walking around to get rid of her like her writer's block or something. I enjoy Stephen King. The Stand is one of my favorite books. It's very good.
Did you ever watch the miniseries?
No, I did not.
That one isn't very suspenseful, really, though, right? It's just kind of
Right.
like, oh, things are happening. It's just an interesting scenario.
Yes.
Because it's about the apocalypse, or pseudo-apocalypse.
Yeah. Basically, a flu comes out and kills like 90% of all people.
And then Satan comes
Basically, yeah.
as a charismatic figure who he is, and then there are like multiple settlements, and like in the end, doesn't like the hand of God come activating a nuke in it?
No, it's there's a dude who basically the devil figure recruits called the Garbage Man, I think, and he's like an arsonist.
Yeah.
And one of the things he does is he's just obsessed with fire. Well, when everyone's gone, basically he just went around like burning cities to the ground and going crazy. Like I think he talks about how he like messed up his arm because he wanted to like set off a coal fire plant and just burn it to the ground or something. And eventually he's like, he can't resist the urge not to set the nuke off. So he just like goes to the missile and like hits it and blows up like California, where all the bad people are. So, and all the good people were in Boulder, Colorado.
That's a very large distance between.
I think it's something, there's a lot more that happens between there. It's a thick book, but it's just kind of neat because it talks about how like sometimes like there's one of the main characters, he's just really like kind of like a shitty guy, like an asshole, but not necessarily a bad person. It's like he's that. I recently heard the quote from Team America recently, the whole like dicks, pussies, and assholes thing. He's a dick. I can't remember the quote, but it's so good. That's such a good quote, and that's what it reminded me of. But it's a really cool book, just going through how these different personalities interact.
Speaking of which, have you? I have not. It's just my brother has been listening to stuff on Audible, and on the way back from our trip, he wanted us to listen to where he was in the Andromeda Strain, and because it's written by the same guy who did the Jurassic Parks, and he really likes Jurassic Park. Apparently, like he's one of the like first like really science fiction novelists, really emphasizing the science part of it. Like he knows. He really does his research to talk about things, like, and then it's just fiction. Like things maybe could happen, maybe it couldn't happen. But in the Andromeda Strain, there goes in a lot of detail, and it's like, as we're listening to keep pausing stuff, like all the detail and stuff he's going into about all this stuff in the Andromeda Strain. It's like I'm almost wondering if a lot of this was inspiration for SCP, like the containment procedures and safety things, just like the detail and way they present it. Like, I feel like Andromeda Strain did like a really good job, and maybe that kind of what like, oh, how do we like all the containment procedures.
I could see that. I think that's SCP, since it's all essentially a giant fan fiction project.
Yeah.
I may not have the right term, but collaborative writing. I could totally see that pulling from a lot of very popular things. But I think we're at time. I assume.
I would think so. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just gonna go around. I'm Grant.
Andrew.
And do you have I think I asked you before. I'll throw my Twitter up if you want to get a hold of me. I'll probably put up a picture of your gamer tag is what I'm going to do.
Facebook.
No, your Facebook, yeah. But Ellie, do you have a Twitter? I don't think you use yours anymore.
No, I don't have one anymore.
But all right, so thanks for watching, and I don't know if this is going to be a weekly thing, but I'm hoping to eventually do weekly or bi-weekly, so once I get the last one edited and out, I'll hopefully try to be a little more prompt, and these should keep coming out regularly now that we got this whole system kind of down. I'm glad the Skype worked out, Ellie. Thanks for bearing with us. And we'll see you next time.